Friday evening in Cincinnati, tough night for Don Robinson and the Giants as the Reds defeated them by a score of 7-0. In the bottom of the first inning with no score, Paul O'Neill gave the Reds a 2-0 lead as he connected for a two-run homer to right center field, his 13th of the season. His fourth home run this season versus Don Robinson. He now has 55 RBIs as Barry Larkin scored the home run, 2-0 Cincinnati. Then the bottom of the second, Larkin singled to left center field, knocking in Billy Hatcher. The Reds led 3-0, but pitcher Norm Charles was caught off second base and eventually was tagged out. The play went 8-5, 6-4, 3-0 Reds after two. Then the bottom of the third, O'Neill did it once again. This time a solo home run to right field, his 14th of the season. RBI 56. He now has 5 home runs for Don Robinson this season, and the Reds led 4-0. Meanwhile, Red starter Norm Charles cruised along, and in the top of the fourth inning, he struck out Robbie Thompson looking with a curveball. One of the 4 strikeouts in the game. He also walked 2 batters and gave 3 singles. Good night for Charles, but not a good night for Kelly Downs, who made his first appearance this season. And the first batter he faced, Eric Davis, connected for a mammoth solo home run to left center field. It was Davis' 15th home run and 54th RBI, and the Reds led 5-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Then the bottom of the 8th, Al Morris doubled to the gap from right center field over Giant reliever Steve Bedrosian, and Eric Davis scored all the way from first base on a very close play at home plate, and the Reds led 6-0. Morris later scored on a ground out to make the score 7-0, and that was the final. In the top of the 9th inning, Red starter Norm Charles finished off his first major league shutout when Kevin Mitchell popped out to short to end the game. The Reds won 7-0. Charles got the win. He's now 9-6. Don Robinson got the loss. He's 8-3. The Reds now lead the second-place Giants by 5.5 games.
Tom Treblehorn and the Milwaukee Brewers in Kansas City Friday evening for the first of a twilight doubleheader. George Brett in the bottom of the first inning starts things off for the Royals. He'll pick up his 54th RBI with this single to center field, scoring Kevin Seitzer off of Milwaukee starter Bill Kruger. 2 batters later, and it's Pat Tabler with this sacrifice fly to center field, scoring Jim Eisenreich. RBI number 19 for Tabler, and it's 2-0. Brett would pick up his second straight hit in the bottom of the second. This one a triple to deep center field, just going over Robin Yount's glove and off the wall. Scoring on the play is Jim Eisenreich, and it's 3-0 Royals. The Royals would take a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the fourth. Danny Tartabull with his 38th RBI, a single to center field, scoring Jim Eisenreich off of reliever Randy Veras, who came in to replace Kruger, who left the game with a thigh strain. The Brewers would get on the board in the top of the 7th inning with 2 outs. Darrell Hamilton with this single to right field, scoring Dave Parker, RBI number 16. It's 4-1. Mike Felder would be the next batter, and Felder would greet Andy McGaffigan with this double to right center field. Robin Yount and Darrell Hamilton will score on the play. RBIs 15 and 16, 4-3 Royals. But in the 8th inning, Robin Yount would put the Brewers ahead 5-4 with this 2 RBI single to left field. Bill Spires and B.J. Surhoff coming in to score. But George Brett would provide the winners for Kansas City in the bottom of the 8th. This double scoring Jim Eisenreich and Gerald Perry, giving the Royals a 6-5 victory. Jeff Montgomery coming in to take the win, 5-2. Dan Plesac dropping to 2-5. Brett going 4-for-5 with 4 RBI. Game 2 of the doubleheader between Milwaukee and Kansas City, and the lights go out in the bottom of the first inning on starter Dennis Powell for the Brewers. A bank of lights down the first base line, causing a short delay with no score in the bottom of the first inning. Play would resume 20 minutes later, and the Royals would go right to work. Kevin Seitzer with this triple down the left field line, scoring Willie Wilson, Kurt Stillwell, and Bob Boone. RBIs 28, 29, and 30, and it's 3-0 Kansas City. A wild pitch would make it 4-0. Then in the bottom of the 3rd inning, Bill Pacoda with this ground rule double, bouncing over the left center field wall, scoring Kevin Seitzer, and it's 5-0 on his 12th RBI. George Brett would be the next batter, and Brett would pick up his 6th hit of the doubleheader. This single with Bill Pacoda on second base would score Pacoda Brett's 58th RBI of the year, and the Royals would take a 6-0 lead. The Brewers would come back with 4 in the bottom of the 4th. Paul Molitor picking up one of those runs with this RBI single to left field. RBI number 29 for Molitor as Greg Brock scores on the play. But that's as close as the Brewers would get with the score 7-4. Bill Pacoda with his 2nd home run of the year. This solo shot to left field, RBI number 13, and it's 8-4. Steve Crawford pitching 3 strong innings in relief, picks up his first save, getting a little help from Pacoda to end the game. The final 9-4. Storm Davis gets the win. He is 6-7. Dennis Powell taking the loss, dropping to 0-4. Leyland and the first place Pirates at home Friday evening to take on St. Louis. Bottom of the second inning, Terry Pendleton showing how not to try to steal second base here, slipping onto his way, getting tagged out easily by Jose Lean. John Tudor on the mound for St. Louis, looking for his 12th victory. He had won his last 4 straight games going into the game, would strike out 4 of the first 6 batters, but would remove himself after the second inning with a stiff shoulder. Top of the third inning, and the Cardinals would take the lead as Vince Coleman would get this infield single. RBI number 32 as Jose Oquendo scores from third. 2 batters later, and it's Willie McGee. McGee with his 147th hit of the season. RBI number 55 as he will double to left center field past Barry Bonds. Vince Coleman scores, and it's 2-0 Cards. With the Cards leading 3-0, Coleman would come up with his 6th home run, 33rd RBI in the top of the 5th inning. Second RBI of the game as St. Louis would take a 4-0 lead over the Pirates. But in the bottom of the 5th, Barry Bonds would cut that lead in half with his 22nd home run of the year. This line drive, 2-run shot, RBI 85 and 86, and it's 4-2. A Jose Lean groundout would make the score 4-3. But then in the top of the 6th, Jose Oquendo would give the Cardinals another 2-run cushion, 5-3 on his 3rd hit. Second RBI of the game, scoring Terry Pendleton. A tough debut for Pirates pitcher Zane Smith. Starting the 9th inning here, Todd Zeile will triple, scoring Dave Collins, 7-3 Cardinals. Then the next batter, Smith unloads this wild pitch. Todd Zeile will score from third, 8-3 Cardinals in the 9th. And that would be your final as Ken Daly would come on to pitch the final 3 1/3, retiring all 10 batters he would face. He gets the win and is now 3-2. Randy Kramer taking the loss, dropping to 0-1. Cardinals winning it 8-3.
Friday night from Anaheim, California. This little girl stuffs her face along with her brother as the California Angels host the Baltimore Orioles on a beautiful night for baseball. And the California Angels could have the most relaxed bullpen in all of baseball as they hang out in the cheap seats and check out the action. Top of the 2nd inning, Bert Blyleven on the mound for the Angels. He'll strike out his 2nd consecutive batter. First he got Ron Kittle, and now he gets Joe Orsulak to end the top of the 2nd. So Bert Blyleven went 6 innings, allowing 4 hits and giving up 1 run. Bottom of the 2nd inning, Pete Harnisch with a man on will strike out Kent Anderson looking to end the inning. And through 5 innings, Harnisch allowed 1 run on 3 hits. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, with 2 outs, Max Venable strokes this solo home run off of Pete Harnisch. It's his 4th of the season, RBI number 15. And Pete Harnisch says a word that rhymes with duck as the Angels take a 1-0 lead. But in the top of the 6th, after 2 outs, Steve Finley got a double, and then Cal Ripken will tie it up with the single into left field, scoring Finley for 63rd RBI in the year, and it's tied 1-1 in the 6th. Friday night in Toronto, the Minnesota Twins in town to take on the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 1st inning with 2 outs and 2 on. Fred McGriff up against David West, and he'll hit this hard double into the left center field gap. That scores Kelly Gruber and George Bell. RBIs number 65 and 66 for McGriff as he ends up with the 2 RBI double. It was 2-0 Toronto. Shane Mack made it 2-1 in the top of the 2nd inning. Then in the bottom of the 2nd inning, a great play coming up here by Shane Mack as he runs down this foul pop-up by Junior Felix. Makes a great grab as the ball boy gets out of the way, and he makes a nice catch, and that ended the bottom of the 2nd inning. Top of the 3rd inning, Tony Fernandez turns in some stellar D. Gary Gaetti, the batter. There's Fernandez with the dive and the flip to Manny Lee as he gets Kirby Puckett on the force for the 2nd out in the inning. And this guy got this great play by Kent Hrbek because they didn't have it live. The batter is Glenn Allen Hill, and Hrbek makes a great catch to end the inning.
Folks, this is what they look like. They are, and these are $6 a piece, is that right?
Twins announcer Dick Bremer shelling out $12 for 2 dogs. Top of the 7th inning, 1 on and none out. Shane Mack takes John Cerruti deep to right field for his 6th home run of the season as Kent Hrbek was aboard. RBIs number 22 and 23, and it tied the game at 3 apiece. Still in the top of the 7th inning now with Frank Wills in to pitch with 2 outs. Kirby Puckett will single into right field. That scores Carmen Castillo. Nelson Liriano moves over to second base. RBI number 65 for Puckett The Twins had a 4-3 lead as Mark Whitten threw that one a long ways. Next batter up following Puckett was Gary Gaetti. So with Liriano and Puckett aboard, Gaetti will send this one out into left center field. A 3-run homer as George Bell jumps and just barely misses the ball. Home run number 13 for Gaetti. RBIs number 62, 63, and 64. That gave Minnesota a 7-3 lead. And that would be the final as David West would get his second Major League complete game victory. So he goes 9 innings, allowing only 6 hits, striking out 5 and walking 1. Here he gets Pat Borders to hit one right back to him. David West throws over to Kent Herbeck, and the Twins win it 7-3. West is now 6-7. John Cerruti takes the loss. He's 8-8, and the Twins win it 7-3 on Friday night.
Friday evening in Seattle, it looked like Dewey Evans was trying to sneaky on during his at-bat in the top of the second inning against Randy Johnson as the Red Sox took on the Mariners. Johnson struck out Evans for his 3rd strikeout and only the top of the second inning. The Mariners had scored a run in the first on a ground out. They increased their lead in the second when Omar Vizquel on a single right field of Boston starter Danny Kicker. Iker Martinez scored, Army number 10 for Vizquel, and the Mariners led 2-0. Zach Fly made the score 3-0. Still in the second, Ken Griffey Jr. tripled off the wall in right field. This knocked in Harold Reynolds, and the Mariners led 4-0 in the bottom of the second inning. In the top of the 5th inning, the Red Sox got on the board when rookie shortstop Tim Neering grounded a single up the middle. This knocked in Tony Pena from second base, RBI number 12 for Neering, and the Mariner lead was cut to 4-1 in the top of the 5th inning. Seattle Mariners starter Randy Johnson just cruising along. Here in the top of the 6th, he struck out Tom Bernansky for his 10th strikeout of the game. Mariners lead 4-1 in the top of the 6th.
On Friday night, Ozzie Guillen and the Chicago White Sox are hosting the Texas Rangers in Game 1 of a doubleheader, bottom of the 1st inning with 1 out. Ivan Calderon bloops this single off of Craig McMurtry. Coming around to score is Lance Johnson, RBI number 58 for Calderon, and it was 1-0 Chicago. But then the rains would begin to fall, and home plate umpire Larry Barnett would survey the field and decide that they would stop the game. They had a 59-minute rain delay, so when the game resumed in the top of the 2nd inning, with 2 outs, Jack Doherty, the batter against Jack McDowell, he lifts this deep drive out into right field. It goes off the base of the wall. Coming around to score on the play is Pete Incaviglia, as Phil Bradley missed that ball. RBI number 29, and it was 1-1. And that's sports writer Jerome Holtzman, who last week was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And a guy who's probably headed for the Hall of Fame is Carlton Fisk, because the next home run he hits will be the most by any catcher. He'll break Johnny Bench's record. He'll also break a White Sox record held by Harold Baines. Harold Baines and Carlton Fisk are both tied for the all-time home run lead, with the White Sox at 184. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, Bobby Valentine would see his club fall behind to Jeff Torborg's team, as with 2 outs, Dan Pasqua, the batter against Craig McMurtry, he'll hit this ground ball single into left field. That scores 2 as Phil Bradley and Lance Johnson come around. RBIs number 44 and 45 for Danny Pasqua, and it was 3-1 Chicago. And here's a funny play. Ozzie Guillen fouls it off right back at home plate umpire Larry Barnett, knocks his mask off. Gino Petralli tries to help him out, and Tom Paciorek provides some sound effects.
Look at this one.
In the bottom of the 5th, the White Sox add 2 more runs. After a Lance Johnson sacrifice fly scored Phil Bradley to make it 4-1, Dan Pasqua drives in his 3rd run of the game with this solo shot off Craig McMurtry. It's his 12th home run of the season, RBI number 46. That gives the White Sox a 5-1 lead. And they wanted to know the weather report, so Roger Vassar, the White Sox ground crew chief, gave him the thumbs down. But the rain would hold out, and this fan would make a great catch in the bottom of the 8th inning off the bat of Dan Pasqua. As he snags it out of the air, we'll take one more look at the nice catch by this White Sox fan down in the front row. Still, the same batter in the bottom of the 8th inning, Dan Pasqua, will fly out this time to Steve Buechele, who makes a great diving catch to rob him of a hit. The final in this one's 5-2 White Sox as they win it. Jack McDowell gets the win. He's 8-6. Craig McMurtry takes the loss. He's 0-2, and Bobby Thigpen gets his 37th save. 2 of the doubleheader between the White Sox and Texas at Comiskey had a little bit of a rain delay, but not as long as the first one, as Nolan Ryan was pitching for the Texas Rangers, and Check out this little White Sox fan as he gets into the action in the bottom of the second inning. As this lady nods out, game started about 10:30 Central Time with one out, and Ron Karkovice and Sammy Sosa aboard. Craig Grayback up to bat against Nolan Ryan, and he'll hit his first Major League home run. It's a 3-run shot, and it takes the White Sox to the 3-0 lead in the bottom of the second inning as he takes this one deep to left field, and the Sox are on the board and looking to sweep the Rangers. So the White Sox, who had been struggling on the road, return to Comiskey and take the lead in the second game of the double dip on the 3-run homer by Craig Grayback. The next batter up, and the first pitch he sees from Nolan Ryan is Ozzie Guillen, and he puts it in the right field seats for his first home run of the season. So back-to-back home runs by Grayback and Ozzie Guillen, as the fireworks were a little late on Guillen's, but it's 4-0 Chicago in the bottom of the second. In the bottom of the fourth, after Lance Johnson had hit a 2-out RBI triple to score Sammy Sosa, Gary Pettis makes this great sliding catch to end the bottom of the fourth as he robs Steve Lyons of a base hit. In the top of the sixth, with 1 on and 2 out, Ruben Sierra will break up Wayne Edwards' shutout as he rips this lawn single off the left field wall. Scoring on the play is Gary Pettis, and a nice throw by Dan Pasqua keeps Ruben Sierra at first base, so it's 5-1 Chicago in the sixth.